All right. Welcome to the First Customers Podcast, everybody. Today we have Sergey Lechshenko from Kiev, Ukraine. He's the founder and CEO of Beverly English, a career coaching business that he started in Kiev and has been growing the business in Ukraine during this whole war and chaos and craziness that's broken out. And he's still there now, working on his business. So the first question is always, how'd you get your first customers? But, man, how in the world are you in Kiev starting and growing a business? Because from the outside looking in, it does not make any sense how that's even possible at this point.
First of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here, being able to talk to the world, to your followers, to listeners.
Yeah.
Well, long story short, I didn't have much choice. We are here, especially men, we have some restrictions.
Wow.
On the ability to go outside the country. But it's not to say that I was going to leave. I'm kind of diehard Ukrainian, and I don't want to leave my country, especially when it needs people who do business and who create, workplaces. And this is our contribution to the society as business people. Our president always emphasizes the fact that we need you guys, we need entrepreneurs, especially who work with the people from outside Ukraine. So we need the inflow of cash from foreign countries. And I'm trying to do just that. So my first customers, Beverly English is my remote coaching, business coaching service. And I help people, usually international applicants who need a new job. They need to prepare for a job interview, for example, or people who need to close deals. They go around the world to try to close deals at different conferences. And actually, my first customer came as a result of my content strategy on TikTok. Actually, not even content strategy. I was just having fun there, man. I didn't have much belief that something would transpire. But then out of the blue, I was just sharing my wisdom there, sharing the knowledge that I have acquired over the years, building businesses, internationally. And a lady contacted me. She said, I'm a Ukrainian, now living in Lisbon, in Portugal, and I want to go and visit this web summit that took place in May, I guess. And she asked, can you teach me, can you help me? How do I do small talks? How do I kind of make connections? And how do I find investors? Because I have my experience working with investors as well. And off we went. So that was my first customer who I prepared specifically to close deals at the Web Summit in Portugal.
Okay. All right. So you're kind of like a consultant for whatever kind of business goal someone has to advance their career.
And on top of that, I do this in English and I help people to pick the right words, because still you can learn foreign language and all entire life and still not be ready to communicate with people from specific industries. Especially that she's got this gaming portal. It's called Dash Fight. It's a wonderful portal for everyone who wanna go check out games, like fighting games, right?
Okay.
And she was looking for partners, and I was so excited to help her. And you know what? My instantaneous desire was to help her basically free of charge, because you know how it goes. For the first customers, you're willing to do this in exchange for feedback oftentimes.
Okay.
But yeah, but she paid me in full, and that's a really good lesson that you gotta get paid for the energy that you give away.
Right.
Otherwise, yes, it's not a fair exchange on a metaphysical level. Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so that goes over the first customer that you got. And did you continue just putting out TikTok content and getting more customers through social media, or did you get referrals from there? Or how did that lead to more customers?
That's a really good question. So I thought at the time, I was not familiar with the TikTok algorithm. I thought that I'm golden, that I would just continue producing videos of the same kind, and they would go viral every single time. And lo and behold, it didn't happen. So
Yeah.
you gotta, I don't know, Pareto principle does not apply here. Maybe out of 100 tries, you can get lucky one time. And plus, TikTok is not built to serve like your followers base. I mean, it's the recommendation page, the page that you see when you open the app is always for you. And 9 times out of 10, you're not going to see the people that you're following. Okay, so their algorithm always wants you to see new creators. Okay, and therefore I slowly transitioned to Instagram and realized that Instagram is the way to go, because this is the place similar to Twitter, right? That is more popular in the United States. It's not so popular here in Ukraine. But yeah, that's where I started growing my customer base, and by following me, they checking my updates on a daily basis, they kind of started reaching out to me and asking me to help with their career and business and negotiation needs.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is that still how you get most of your customers, just through your social content?
Social content, organic only. So I never bought any ads and never invested any money into advertising for now. It's just also not the best time right now for me. Being in Ukraine, I gotta have some cash prepared for whatever happens.
Right.
But every new opportunity to get additional exposure, I'm super appreciative. That's why I'm super appreciative for the opportunity to be here. Yeah, so I'm a big believer in the social currency, and I believe that by spreading the word, we can go places. We can grow our business one step at a time.
Yeah. All right. So that's your current business. It's growing, getting more customers, putting the content out there, totally organic.
Yeah.
But what did you do before that to get the expertise, that makes you qualified to help these other people? Talk a little bit about your background that led to your current business.
Yeah. So the first thing that people ask me all the time is how many times you've been to the United States, and I say never, not once, never ever been to the United States. But I've been always obsessed with the American culture for some reason. I just liked it, and I play basketball, and from 15 years old, I started watching NBA because we got the access to the NBA. Before that, we couldn't watch games, and I would start watching games like crazy. You know what I'm saying? And that's where my love for American pronunciation was born. And fast forward, this is where I first learned about inbound marketing and a company called HubSpot. in the marketing conferences that they did, and I were listening carefully and just absorbing as much as I can, because for some reason it just piqued my interest in a big way. I felt like I will be doing business globally. English will be my language for doing business. And my first job was a customer support representative. I specifically was looking for a job that required speaking English with Americans, and found such a job. And during the night, we were working. Our work was at night, just like now, pretty much. And we were serving customers of one company that was producing digital content for Americans, for not even Americans, for people who were studying in American universities.
Huh.
So it's sort of a combination of tutoring and ghostwriting.
Oh, okay.
Won't be digging deeper for the sake of this conversation, if you don't mind. All right.
Okay. Yeah. That's fine. Ghostwriting for college students. Okay.
All right. Yeah. It's walking in thin ice, legally wise.
That's funny.
And this was the place where I've gotten my experience talking to customers, doing sales over the phone and stuff of this nature, which then resulted into me and a dude who I worked there starting our own business in the same industry. So this company called Dex Digital, it had its onset, it's like beginning in 2014. And for the next 7 years, for the next 3 years, we were bootstrapping on our own. I would ask money from borrowed money from a friend of mine who sold a garage for $12,000 to give me the money. And we were just bootstrapping and grinding for 3 years straight before we realized that we can't make our ends meet. We need to pay salaries. We had roughly 7 people on board. And then we started looking for additional sponsorship. Basically, found a venture fund and in Ukraine in 2012, it wasn't a thing you could find on the classified, on this through. It wasn't something you can find easily. These people, investors, were not public, right? And it took us a lot of time to find them. But over the next 2 years, we worked with them, and then I left. And 2 years later, after I left in 2019. 2 years later, after I left, the company was sold for $1.5 million to another corporation. Yeah, so it could be seen as a successful startup story.
Yeah.
When they say that on average, like 1 out of 1,000 startups work, I think it's not far away from the truth. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. Anytime you can get an exit, get a company bought.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, the stock, my equity was not something that would, like, converting it not into something that I would feed me till the rest of my days.
Right. You couldn't stop working necessarily.
Yeah. It's experience of a lifetime. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So been working, had some success, and then what is it, 2021 or 22?
2022.
When the war started over there.
Yes.
And talk to us a little bit about what was going on. You were doing business, and then you said you had to pivot. So just talk to us about that transition of what it was like, firsthand experience during this historic moment.
At the time, I actually started another thing in China in between of these two things. So I'll briefly mention this. I went to China. We started at Beverly English, the name of my coaching center. Initially, it started out as an online school for Chinese kids. We were going to teach them English, but that didn't work. But I still had my TikTok, the original Chinese TikTok. And I was as everything started go the way it went in February, I figured that my contribution or my mission here is to show Chinese who were an ally of Russia in a big way. I would show them what's really going on, because they saw a completely different picture from their mainstream media. You know what I'm saying? And the number of people who were waiting for my updates on a daily basis was mind-blowing, man.
Really?
I some people told me that they have friends in China who are waiting for this guy Chris, and Chris is my nickname that I've been using for a while, because when we first started the business, we didn't want people to know that we were Ukrainians. That's a completely different story of finding your identity. But I'm finally Sergey, Chris. But they were waiting for Chris to go live, to post a video and just tell them what happened today.
Yeah.
And that was just, I couldn't believe, unbelievable. That was, and I really enjoyed the fact that, not even enjoyed, I appreciated that there were people who were sending donations and who were super supportive, even though the Chinese government wasn't so much. Yeah.
So before the show, we were having a quick chat, and you were like, man, it's safe, or relatively safe. You get used to getting shelled and that kind of thing, which sounds crazy to us over here in the U.S. and, other places people listen to this show. Could you give us a little bit of that, a little bit of insight into that? Like, how do you adjust to the lifestyle or just the situation? What's that like, adjusting to that? Or does it affect your daily life? Just some kind of a picture into your world.
I was just thinking about this a couple of days ago when I was crossing the road and all the cars were standing waiting for you to cross the road because it's a red light. I think March 2022, if some of your listeners ever played GTA, where they are driving all across the city without any rules, that was the situation for the first 3 months. Cars were just driving with no one would follow the rules on the road. That was
so kind of
crazy, like an anarchy.
Yeah. Okay.
And
crazy.
But that just to illustrate a picture from just something that your viewers, your listeners could picture, how it was. This just the magnitude of chaos that took place. And now right now it's a curfew, so we're not allowed to leave our apartments past 11 p.m. So you can whatever you want during the daytime, but by 11 p.m. shut down the doors, and you're not leaving your apartment. So there are cars that have special documents that can like go, but for the like all of people are staying at home. But right now we have military doing what they're doing on the east coast and Donbass area. There are fierce fights there, and men are not forced to or not obligated to go to the army. That's not something our government does. Unlike Russians, that I'm almost certain that if Putin decides to steer the pot, he will make it a mandatory shit so that just men will have to go there. Otherwise, this could be like you pick a prison or you go to a war. We don't have anything like that. We have our Ukrainian army who's qualified enough, who's had trainings with with the American army. I know cases where our pilots are being trained in Denver, training. Yeah. Really? So, yeah, man. So, what I learned about my nation in my military is that we're more than capable of learning the ropes of new technology, even though we're not giving a lot of technology like as much as we wanted, because we still don't have our sky covered fully, right? But the air rocket system works. So I feel 80% safe being in the downtown of the capital of Kyiv. I'm 80% safe that rocket won't hit my building, that is going to be hit approaching my building, right? But still, there is a risk. That's just the risk we're taking, and we can't just live in fear. We can't be passive. We should have active sense of life. We should move. We should do something and help bring the economy back.
Yeah. And so you were in China, or you were doing the Beverly English as a like English teaching service, and then war started, and you're like, all right, want to pivot to do something more local.
So I wasn't in China, so I went there for a few days. So I was developing this thing, where I was targeting Chinese, and I was going to give them some kind of lessons. I don't know why, but I always wanted to work with foreign customers. I don't know what it is, man. Something deeply ingrained in me that I always wanted to challenge the status quo, always wanted to do something really freakishly difficult, While I first worked with Americans, then I worked with Chinese, while at the same time I have amazing nation. Just the best people, as far as I'm concerned, being a Ukrainian, the best people on earth. And I am super excited and thrilled, and grateful for the opportunity to help them to spread their wings and pursue their career and develop their businesses worldwide. So this is something that really feels like a perfect fit for me.
Yeah. So apparently, there's still a lot of people in Kyiv. How many people are still there?
A lot, my man, a lot. We have Warsaw, Poland. Poland has been super hospitable. Warsaw is like, people call it the second Kyiv, because so many citizens of Kyiv went there, and they're opening restaurants. They're opening, it's like we're a lot of people in Canada, a lot in Portugal, especially in crypto. Malta,
Okay.
Cyprus for but still a lot of people. I can only gauge it by the mere fact that we still now we have the traffic jams again. That's the indication for me that we're back on track. I see old familiar good old days traffic jams.
You said most of the fighting or the most intense fightings in the Donbass area, that's more towards the eastern border. And so, but you said there's also the risk, I guess, of shelling deeper into Ukraine, closer to Kiev. Is that the kind of that 20% risk that you feel?
They do have rockets they shot from the Crimea that reach. They reach to get to Kiev, and we haven't been given rockets that could shot to the distance. So that's I think that's a very thoughtful decision coming from NATO and the US that we're not getting these rockets yet.
Okay. Gotcha.
So we're only defending our country. Can you imagine if it was a full-scale two-direction two-way street?
Right.
And we're like feeling like, let's go. Man, I mean, like we feel like, let's go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because our guys are ready. They're ready. It's just, there's no political will for this quite yet. And we don't want it. We don't want it. We want them just to get the fuck out of our country and live in their third world country, Russia, which will be like that now.
Yeah. So you guys, you were saying you're kind of in more defense mode. Is that, so you're saying you do have some like surface to air defense is what you were saying about rockets coming in. There is some defense against that.
Yeah.
But you don't have the same kind of offensive weapons.
Yeah, we don't have. Yeah. So I don't want to be giving false information, but I'm saying like what I know from my friends, talking to my friends, everything I say is not I don't watch news. I don't watch news at all. Everything that I say or I've told during this conversation coming from like first-hand source, basically. My friends, or I got folks who fight. I got a classmate who died recently. He was drafted. He decided to go there, and So,
wow. Sorry about that, man. I hate that war has to happen at all. It seems like we'd be advanced enough at this point in history that it would be unnecessary to do such things.
But this is a political context, and I hope that business is something that can give us hope. And there's going to be time where there's going to be a lot of investors and the capital that is brought from the outside to restore all the damage. I'm looking forward to these times.
Kind of the recovery process after all this is over with and settled, and then it's time to grow. That's a good perspective.
The more new entrepreneurs and new ventures we have, the better it is, because I feel an amazing amount of support from people like you, from people all around the world who are just lending the hand, and saying, hey, like, be my guest. And just because I'm a Ukrainian, I feel so much support, and I'm welcome to different podcasts. And that's amazing. That helps me, but it also helps me to tell about great people that we have, that we are not third world country, that we have a lot of entrepreneurs, we have a lot of tech companies that serve people in the US, in Canada, in the UK. We create great startups that are
Yeah.
known all over the world. So it's an opportunity for me to just speak the truth about my country, which has been in the shadow of Russia for too long, man. I don't know if you've heard about Ukraine before the war started. Did you?
I've heard of Ukraine before. Yeah, I just, didn't know as many of the details of the history and the kind of back and forth, or, the details of the relationship between Russia and Ukraine. I didn't know about that as much until, everything's been in the news nonstop.
In a way, it helped us to gain our true independence, in a way, because, if everything happens for a reason, and everything does happen for a reason, I believe that. Maybe this is something where we finally separated and we finally found our own identity.
Yeah. Interesting. So wild, man. Just getting a view into your world, and the fact that you've been building a business throughout all this is amazing. It's almost unbelievable just from my perspective of watching the news and everything. And, if you're scrolling social media, you might see 10 different clips that are all negative, but you're just seeing them over and over and over because that's the only, you know what I mean? That's the thing that gets the most views or something. And so you're just seeing
like
some missile exploding or just some random war footage. And it's like, so you in the kind of perspective that you develop of like the war that's going on over there, it just looks like, depending on what you're seeing in your own feed and on social media, it can look like, man, it's just pure nonstop chaos and destruction over there. Because, something of just a quiet street isn't going to get any views, on social media, or just, some people having coffee in a cafe or something. That's not going to get any views. But that's probably going on there. I mean, you guys are doing business.
Yeah, meeting people, doing dancing before 11 p.m. So we're supposed to live. We're supposed to, go on with our life. Just that,
for sure,
you only do this till midnight. Then you go home. Then we switch partying to home.
Yeah. Wow. And so there wasn't any curfews or anything before this all happened?
Oh, for sure. No.
Yeah.
Like, it's only happened, So it's been a year. So this February 24th marked a year since everything started. And when I read history books, I was like, Jesus, they had wars for like 4 years, 5 years. I was like, why couldn't they just decide everything on it? Not like, why do they need to go for such a long time? Now it's been a year. Yeah.
Wow. Man, well, I hope everything gets cleared up as soon as possible, and wishing you all the best luck and business growth and all that. What advice would you have for either other maybe entrepreneurs in Ukraine or anywhere in the world? What would advice you have for people looking to start a business or get their first customers? Because you've done it in the midst of a crazy situation. So if you can do it, I mean, I don't think anybody has an excuse when it comes to starting a business and getting something going, taking that risk, if you can do it in the middle of a war zone.
I'd say that we have to listen to ourselves. If you got this something going on, if you got this gut feeling that there's not enough for you and you deserve more, you want more, you have this ambition. There are so many examples of people who've done it, and one of the wisest things I was taught is that we should stop thinking that our case is unique, because when we think that we are unique and no one has ever experienced something that I experience, we are being mistaken. If we look around, if we become open to the network of people that surround us, and or opportunities, we're going to see that there are people who can help, who can become your first customers, even from your friends.
Sure.
Right? You just gotta have this open mind mentality and just go for it and take one step at a time. We like this trajectory trajectory where you take two steps forward, you take one backwards, and it goes like that. So you always grow like this. It's never like a steady growth. You always kind of backpedal a bit, but you just have to keep pushing, and listen to your gut. I think that gut is underestimated. The gut feeling is so underestimated. So that would be my advice.
That's good. And so, what did that mean for you? Like, listen to your gut. Is that was kind of the reasoning for starting your current business? It was just feeling so strongly that you wanted to do something to bring business back to Ukraine. That seemed like the clearest path to do that.
When we listened, when we do something with what we have, we still get the reaction from the market. So obviously, if there is no market fit, the best thing that you should do is to probably not persevere for so long, because if you're just hitting the rock bottom, or like you're not just getting any traction, you should probably also listen to maybe
like
other
results.
people. The results, absolutely. So some people they just waste so much time following what they think are their calling or whatever, their destiny.
Gotcha.
But you gotta still look objectively at what's going on. And for me, the instrumental moment took place when I was through my entire life. People around me would ask me, "Where did you learn English, man? And where did you learn to communicate like this?" And I never paid attention to this up until that moment where I decided that I will finally start helping these people, and I will finally answer their call, right? Because when there is a demand, sometimes you just have to look at what at the opportunity that presents themselves, and now I feel like it's a perfect fit for me, especially with so many Ukrainians looking for opportunities outside Ukraine, because right now,
okay, my curiosity is overtaking me now. You mentioned that when the war started, there was a 3-month period of just anarchy.
Yes, sir.
Chaos.
Yeah.
So were you just like on your laptop trying to get work done, looking out the window, like, it's crazy out there, but I'm going to, like, can you walk us through a little bit of, like, because I remember the first night that it happened, I stayed up all night on like Twitter Spaces or like Clubhouse, just listening to people like give reports on what was happening. I was just like, what? This is crazy. So, but what was that first like 24 hours to 3 months like of actually living there?
It was intense. We didn't know what to expect. A lot of people were leaving their houses. You couldn't buy food because people would stay in the line for like 4, 5, 6 hours in the supermarkets.
Wow.
Total nonsense, total chaos. And I was not so much developing the business. I would post videos for Chinese viewers and asking for donations, because my business revenue were pretty much donations that I were able to gather to arrange for my country, and I would donate to our army. That's what all the Ukrainians would do. They would send money, to our army. But I was actually the picture that you have in your mind. It's actually pretty close, because I was also doing some freelance project. I had a friend. He's an NFT. He's got a business where they aggregate like an NFT calendar where they post the latest drops. And
Okay.
I distinctly remember how I was like sitting here, right, this spot, with the windows being fully closed, and was making deals, and I would sell, I would work, and I would make sales. That was incredible,
Wow.
and I needed that so much, and I actually appreciated the fact that people kept living, because a lot of Ukrainians, they had sort of dubious feelings about other countries or people who didn't openly support us, and we kind of took offense to other people who were just going on with their life. But these feelings are now like, because we were so depressed, man. We were so angry at everyone. It was horrible, and but right now we psychologically we have grown, man. We now understand that it's every person's choice how to go around the thing. Some people are still checking news. Some people are still like super concerned about what's going on, and some people just go on with their lives. I mean, I don't say that I stay oblivious to what's going on, but I decided I could contribute much better if I go on with my life, make money, create work spots, and
be
just
productive.
send donations whenever I can, and spread the truth.
Yeah. So were there moments when you were literally working and like an explosion would go off somewhere that you could hear? Like,
so I had the corridor over here, and I would stand between two walls, because this is the thickest place in my apartment, and we would kind of convince ourselves that if we stay between the thickest walls, it would rescue us from the rockets. That was insane, man.
Yeah,
because I got fed up. We spent nights in the subway, and there were people who were filled like all over the place, and I couldn't stand this shit. So I maybe spent 2 nights subway, and then I would just stay with my friend. She's a girl. She now lives in Frankfurt. She spent the night at my place, and in the morning, and I distinctly remember she turns on the light at 5 a.m. and I got this red lightning. I got different colors, right?
Oh, okay.
And she turns, and when you hit the turn button, like a random light would come out, and she gets in my room, she hits the turn on, and the red light pops up, and she says, "The war has started." And that was the beginning of fucking. I remember so much tension in the air. I was already feeling that there was something happening, because it felt like something is wrong. The air was super tense,
Really?
Yeah, man. When things like that happen, you can feel it on the metaphysical level. It's just fear, uncertainty. But it kind of
crazy
sculpts your character.
Yeah, for sure. Survive and get stronger, for sure. Wow. Okay, so I guess, like you mentioned, that girl, she's moved to Germany. Is that how it is? Like, most of the women had to leave or chose to leave, or is that?
Most of the women chose to live. Some part, I don't know which part, I believe the minority came back, because the life, it's not for everyone to, adapt and just be okay with totally different culture and everything.
Sure.
And yeah,
Leaving your
but
home.
women, for the most part, left. You beautiful
Crazy.
Ukrainian ladies left. But we still got a lot of ladies left, so I'm good.
Okay.
Don't feel sorry about me.
We're getting into the details of Ukrainian life now. This is crazy. Okay. Wow. So, from my perspective out here, that's interesting to map what I was seeing to what you were going through. And like where I live, we have tornadoes, like crazy storms, and they can just destroy houses. So we have similar situations where we'll be, you go to the strongest part of your house, like you were saying, the strongest part of your apartment. And we have to go there and, hope that the tornado doesn't hit our house because it'll just, destroy it. And so in the South in the U.S., that's a common thing that you have to deal with every year during the certain seasons of the year. And so it's nowhere near the level of the situation that you're talking about, but it is just interesting to me that I can see that parallel of that experience of just being in a little safe spot, just hoping something you have no control over. And you just hope, I hope
and in a way,
chaos doesn't hit me today.
Kind of like a phoenix, you get your life back every single time when you start appreciating it and you start feeling like, what have I done? Like, am I living my life? Am I living to my full potential? Right?
Sure.
Moments like this are super valuable.
So what's your goal for your current business?
The goal for my current business is to help. Well, I'm not 100% altruistic. I want to make money. I want to profit from this, but I want this to be a world, like a brand recognizable within business networks, not only in Ukraine, but in the US, and help as many people as possible. I'm not saying that that's like the direction that I have chosen that will be the only one. There's going to be like educational services. Some people reach out to me asking for pronunciation courses. So that's a lot. Being able, I like leadership studies so much. I'm following Simon Sinek. This guy he's an amazing, and the way leadership is something that is being taught in the United States. It's not something that we got. We're not quite there yet, and I want our corporations and our managers to learn what it means to be empathetic leader, means what, how to give praise, how to just, criticize people so they're not. It's all should. I really like this approach where you create organization where people want to come to work every single day, and they're not telling each other, "Oh, you like your job, you're so lucky." I want people find the job that's really truly fit them. That's why I help people to ask proper questions. That's where I dig deeper to understand what they really want, and where if organization can facilitate that, right? So I think it's so fascinating how we should how this find of middle common ground can be achieved through just some tips that I can give.
Yeah. Who's your ideal target customer?
So my ideal target customer is an individual who wants to work on an international company as a middle senior executive. And also, I really want to work with more entrepreneurs who need to present their businesses to venture funds and just to develop business all across the world. And where they lack the communication skills, this is where I come on stage. That would be my perfect two segments.
And so it's is it mostly people like who are not English speakers who are trying to?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and yeah, that's a really good point. I want to help more people feel confident, because confidence is attained through, it's easier said than done, but I think that it's a combination of things. If you work on little things like your speech, like your vocabulary, how you listen, all these things combined could make you a better communicator, right? So I find my application of my knowledge both in like helping people to come across, so that other people could understand them, and at the same time, help their businesses, like using some specific terminology and stuff that I've learned over all these years. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this has been an amazing conversation. I know it's late there. I appreciate the time you've spent with us already. Why don't you give just a quick pitch? Like if, let's say, a group of your target customers are listening right now, what would you tell them to like show the value of your service, or try to convince them to use you as a service provider?
So if you're looking to nail a job, a high standing position at Amazon or any tech giant, for example, if you're a developer, if you're highly qualified software engineer, and you can't communicate your professional experience, you can't describe how great of a professional you are, this is where I can help. Can help you present yourself on a level that would really gain you the position that you are worthy of. And if you are a team, your recruiting team, HR department, or your support team working with English-speaking customers, and you want to understand how to provide better assistance, how to make repetitive sales, I can also be of help. And if you're an entrepreneur who goes somewhere, pitch their business, find strategic partners or investors, and you don't know how to present your business, I can help you, because I've been there, my friend. I sold the business. I worked with strategic partners, with people from Asia, from the United States, from Saudi Arabia, you name it. That's why I feel like I'm qualified, and I'll be honored to help.
Awesome. So if you land in any of those specific target audiences, reach out to Sergey, let him help you get where you want to go. Sergey, again, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. That's another episode of the First Customers Podcast. We appreciate everybody listening. If you got any questions, don't hesitate to hit us up on social media. We'll have links in the show notes to everything Sergey is involved with, and we'll see everybody next time.
Thank you so much, Sergey. Thank you. Bye, guys.